Today is a wonderful day. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we are to rejoice. Today I'm particularly rejoicing because it is the beginning of an opportunity to highlight the successes of women. It is a great day to highlight the issues of women and to show us as great conquerors and overcomers. WTV is here to stay, and it is an event whose time has come. Recently, I had an opportunity to interview a young woman of 90 years of age, and she told me the story of being pushed to the sidewalk, and she told me of other events in her life, and she began to weep. So the time for our silence has passed. The time for our shame has passed. Women TV, WTV, will highlight women and women-related events, issues, failures, and yes, successes. And today we're going to start with a success story. We're going to start with my tall, dark, handsome husband, Dr. Darrell Pone, who will tell the story of his life, and he will talk about his mother, who was so instrumental in his success. Dr. Pone has written a book. That book is called We've Come This Far by Faith. Dr. Pone's 10 Keys to Success. Dr. Pone, will you tell us a little bit about your successes and how you've come to this point in your life, and will you share with us from your heart, Dr. Pone?
Yes. I'm honored to be a guest on your show today from Miss TV. I graduated from medical school, Meharry Medical College, in 1981. After that, I did a residency training at the Nassau County Medical Center in Rehabilitation Medicine.
So, Dr. Pone, tell us what rehabilitation medicine is.
It's every way you look at the disabled population and you with therapy or devices to help them improve their level of functioning.
And how did you choose this as your career of choice?
Well, I knew that since I have a disability or cerebral palsy, I'll be in a better position to relate to the disabled patients.
So you have cerebral palsy?
I do. Cerebral palsy in my case was the result of the umbilical cord being wrapped too tightly around my neck. Mm-hmm. It was so severe that the oxygen did not reach my brain. As a matter of fact, the doctor cut off a piece of my hair and put it in my mother's Bible because they didn't think I was going to live. The hair in the Bible would represent the baby boy that never made it in life. However, I was rushed to the neonatal intensive care unit where I was resuscitated. Mm-hmm. And I was able to live. At the time, my dad was a medical student. And that's what happened with my cerebral palsy.
Oh, I see. So now, cerebral palsy was a part of your life, mm-hmm, from the time you were a young child up until medical school. And how did you muster the courage? How did you accomplish the things that you accomplished against the odds?
Well, I remember a strong mother who always believed that I could achieve the unachievable. She encouraged me when others doubted. In my book, 10 Keys to Success, and one of the keys is to never let others establish their limitations. So my mother knew I could be a doctor and did not want me to just settle for anything short of that. We use a acronym in the book called GOLP, G-O-P. And the good is for goodness, means to embrace the goodness within. And I tell them to tell people with respect that they should always think of their career to go wrong.
Your mother was an extraordinary woman, and I'm so glad we have an opportunity to talk about her on the initiation of a Woman's TV. She was a strong woman. She taught school. She taught you manners. She taught you how to place the right fork in the right place. She taught you how to open a door for a woman. Your mother was an extraordinary woman, and I'm so glad that I had an opportunity to meet her. What are some of her strong points that you can recall?
Well, one of the things that Mom always told me to embrace my uniqueness. When others laughed at the way I walked and talked, she said, that comes from God. And
she said that came from God?
Yes.
And she did not discourage you when you came to her complaining that children make fun of your laughing. She encouraged you.
Right, she was one of the way I walked and talked. And today you become adults with it. She said that was their ignorance. And I should embrace the fact that I have a disability. I'm still smart enough to go to college.
Wow, that is extraordinary. So the encouragement of a mother served as the fuel that ignited your life into becoming a medical doctor with the practice for more than 24 years, graduating from Meharry Medical College in Knoxville, Tennessee, and coming to New York. You have accomplished so much. It's hard for me to believe that you were born with cerebral palsy.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I've heard a lot of encouragement. I was taught to always to persevere through life.
Perseverance.
When life throws you challenges, you cannot quit. The mom said, do not quit. The winners never win, and winners never quit.
Wow, that's a great saying. Quitters never win, and winners never quit.
There were times in middle school where I was so discouraged from the workload and from not being able to sleep or to call up. And Mom said, stick with it, get your rest, and come back to it later on. My father also, who was a physician, told me to persevere through life, that you cannot run away from challenges. She was persevere through them and see them out, see them through.
Yes, yes. So your mother and father were strong influences in your life.
They were very much. Plus, there's very strong mentors in my life.
Tell us about your mentors, Dr. Pone.
One is the late Mrs. Doris Weber.
Doris Weber.
Who was my first African-American teacher on Long Island. I went to the public school in Westbury, Long Island, and my first African-American teacher was my fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Doris Weber, and she always encouraged me to do well. You know, and other mentors I had was my father, and there was a woman by the name of Mrs. Risbrook. That's R-I-S-B-R-O-O-K. Mrs. Risbrook was a friend of my mother's who would take me to therapy when Mom and Dad were on vacation.
Wow.
And then there's, of course, there's my godmother, Aunt Betty, we call her, who would actually take care of us when my parents were on vacation. She would cook. We would go to her house and she would cook for us. So I've always had strong women mentors in my life. Again, I applaud you for this initiative in women's TV.
And what about Grandma Tulane? She was something else.
Yes.
She was an actress.
Yes.
She was married, and she took very, very special care of you.
Yes.
Grandma Tulane was a very special woman in your life also, I understand.
Yes. Grandma Tulane was married to a professor. And I remember every year we would go to their home for Thanksgiving in North Carolina. And at the age, she was in a nursing home in D.C., but she joined an acting organization where they would dance, put on plays. We would go see Grandma Tulane every April on her birthday in Washington.
Well, you have been surrounded by positive women. I heard you once say that the women in your life helped you to become the person that you are, helped you to become the husband that you are, helped you to become all that you are. And it's so wonderful of you to attribute these assets that you have to women. I'm very much moved by your interest in making sure that women have their say and that women are given an audience and a stage upon which to say it. So there are also other women in your life. I noticed that you have a picture on your desk.
Yes, it's a funny story.
That's a funny story.
I was the audience stand there. One day, I was at my office with a picture of Gloria and I, my wife, on the desk. And the patient was a young guy with a do-rag on from Brooklyn, New York City. And he looked at the picture and said, "Doc, that's your wife?" I said, "Yes, that's my wife." And the man looked again and says, "No, really, seriously, Doc, that's your wife?" I said, "Yeah, that's my wife." He said, "Wow, Doc, she's pretty." And I stepped back. I said, "Yes. You go to college, you go to medical school, you become a doctor, and you marry a pretty wife. And that's the rules of life. That's all it is."
So now you see why I have Dr. Pone as my first guest, because he thinks I'm pretty. Wow.
Because I got a pretty wife.
That is interesting.
But for real, we met. I actually met Gloria and watched this video. Playing chess.
Look at me.
And I noticed that I was the only guy that had the nerve to play her. And everybody listened to her. And then I went up to the tennis courts and I said, "Wow, these guys are doctors and they guys are pretty." I said, "Here, that's a set like a
And what about Mom? Your mother was quite a looker, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah, Mom was very extremely attractive, extremely attractive. So, again, I'm glad I had the opportunity and I'm honored to be your first guest on the Women's TV show. And we wish you all success with this initiative.
Well, I'm happy that you're here with me, and I'm happy that you share, and I'm happy to know that you have such wonderful attributes, and that your mother did such a wonderful job, because that makes my job a lot easier. And I know that we honor Mom, and I know that in your early years, Mom took such excellent care of you, making sure that you had the proper surgeries, making sure that you went to the proper doctors. And at first, when she believed that you would not live, she prayed, and she was a woman of faith who believed that God would save you. And here you are, almost 60 years later, and your mother put so much of herself into her. And the miraculous thing about that is this saying that says, "What goes around comes around." And when Mom became a caregiver for your mother for 12 years prior to her death.
Yes. You see, when I was a baby,
Look.
It was very difficult for Mom to take care of me because I was spastic. My arms and legs, and she had the baby, my arms, my legs. She had to help me put on gloves, shoes, socks, side shoes, because I was very, very dependent on Mom for my everyday care. Brushing teeth was difficult for me. And coming and brushing my hair was very difficult. And when she took ill in around 2002, I had to do the same thing for Mom. I had to brush her hair. I had to help her with her clothes on. I had to put on her shoes and her socks and her gloves. I had to help her get into the wheelchair. All the love that she gave me as a baby. I was blessed to be able to grow up and help give us back those same skills, those same activities to Mom.
A lot of people want to take care of their parents, but they feel so challenged by it. They feel that it may be even impossible. There's a saying that a mother can take care of 5 children, but 5 children would struggle to take care of one parent. So what would be your advice that you would give to a couple or an individual who is considering becoming the caregiver for their parents?
Well, my advice is you have to decide that you have to balance taking care of your own children and your own parents. And it's always better to keep a parent alive longer in your home
so
than in a nursing home.
So caregiving for a mother or parent would give them such joy that it would extend their livelihood?
I think it would do 2 things. I think it would extend the quantity of life.
Quantity
as
of
well
life.
as quality of life.
And quality
and I
of
think
life.
that the youngsters, the children, if they're children in the hospital, will learn a tremendous amount from grandma and grandpa who live in the home with them. And yes, it's a tough one, parent, because parents taking care of their own parents and their own children, but with friends and family and loved ones pitching in, and I think it's doable.
Right.
I think it's doable.
Well, I have a habit of whenever I see an elderly lady, I will always say to her, "You are so beautiful."
Yeah,
I have
true.
literally hundreds of pictures of women who are past the age of 90. In fact, I attended a birthday party celebrating 100 years for Miss Hannah Graham Reed, in South Carolina. And she was ebullient. She was full of joy, surrounded by her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, and her great-great-grandchildren. There was so much pleasure in the room, not to mention the cake was delicious. Now, I interviewed her almost 10 years ago, and she was fabulous then. And I said to her, "Miss Hannah, you are so beautiful. I think you'll live to be 1,000. What do you think?" And she looked at me and said, "Reverend Pone, I don't think I'll make 1,000, but I sure do believe I'll make 100. And I said to her, "If you make 100, I'll be there for the cutting of that cake." And sure enough, during the sequester, I got on a plane and went to South Carolina. And when she looked up and saw me, almost in disbelief, she was totally and absolutely amazed. So I love the idea of us embracing, becoming a more inclusive society where we don't just push our elderly out, where we embrace them with love and make them integral parts of our society. We did that with Mom, and we're hoping that many other people, men and women, will embrace our seniors with love and care. One of the things that I've done at our church is that I visit the seniors. I take them communion. I'll send them flowers every now and then. I think Women TV will highlight women of all ages, not just women of a certain age, but will cover the spectrum, the entire spectrum of women from 100 down, from young women. But more importantly, we want to leave a legacy for the children that are not yet born, so they can move into full womanhood and be embraced fully by society. And we can do away with abuse of women, as we're experiencing now from the government and other areas. So, Dr. Pone, do you have any additional words that you would like to share about your mother, your grandmother, your life?
Yes, my mother taught me to do unto others as I would have others do unto me. She taught me to have character, to be kind and patient, because that's what she showed me. She told me that to make fun of other people, and not everyone is the same. As far as abuse of women, it starts when you're little and how you raise boys and how you raise girls. You know, and you raise boys to be aggressive and conquering, and you say things to a boy like you feel like a girl. That's when you first abuse girls. That's where women abuse starts. When a boy tells another boy that he feels like a girl, he says that boys are strong and girls are weak. And from there, it gets special to a man hits his wife, because when a man hits his wife, he knows, and he was told as a little boy that that woman is weak.
Yes.
And that's where it begins. So you have to decide how you're going to raise your boys and girls.
Well, I think that's an excellent point, and I think that our young girls, I remember our young girls are special.
They are.
I remember about 10 years ago, you gave a special present to our niece, Sarah Grace.
I did.
And what happened was, when she opened the present, she was surprised because it was not the usual doll that you gave her. Well, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I did what society says to do. You know, a boy, a little girl, a doll. What seems to be benign, you know. But I didn't, this particular case, I caught myself, and I bought her a truck.
A transformer truck? Oh, that's a great idea.
But she could think through dimension, changing the truck from a being and back to a truck again. Just thinking through dimension.
Wow.
And now she wants to go home and be a physician, and she's a great student in science. Okay. Not that there's anything wrong with baby dolls and little girls. It's positive. But to think that gender should not dictate your toys. Okay, that your toys, each toy should bring out certain traits in a child. And we want to teach her some math and science skills with the transformer toy.
Well, we at Women TV believe that every person, regardless of gender, should have an opportunity to be fully embraced and pursue his or her endeavors, regardless of race, regardless of gender. And if we can create an integrated society that is inclusive, then ultimately we will move closer and closer to our goals. I had an opportunity to interview a young woman less than a week ago, and I was talking to her about the possibility of women in the pulpit, women preaching. And she said to me that her pastor told her that women who are not past the childbearing age should never enter the pulpit. And I thought to myself, what a ridiculous statement. But I was very glad that she was able to share that with me. And these are the kind of things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to put shame away. We're going to put shame in its place. And women are going to be speaking out, or speaking in a voice that they can be heard, appreciated, and loved for who they are, and loved for their differences. And so, as you say, definitely, I'm hoping that all men will take up your charge and your interest in making the world a better place for women. In some countries, women are not even received as little baby girls. We have a friend from China who explained that to us, that men are more valued. But here in America, I believe that we can move forward as the whole world can move forward and embrace women as equal citizens with equal rights, and put away the war on women. Make it a passé, a non-existent. For we believe in transformed, integrated societies where every person is given opportunities to learn, to share, to do. I am so passionate about this. I was born and raised in the South. I was born and raised in a time and a place where people were treated poorly because of their skin. And now the thought of women being treated unfairly really upsets me. So my passion is to move forward. My passion is to make sure that women like Annette Pone, your mother, and Grandma Tulane, and Mrs. Betty Obiajulu, and Dr. Risbrook's wife, Mrs. Ida Risbrook, and all of those women will have a voice, will have a say, will be able to make contributions beyond measure. In 1929, the woman got the vote. And so I'm believing that in 2013 and going forward, women will have a right to all of the benefits that men have. What are your parting comments on this, Dr. Pone?
Oh, yeah. Look, if women are able to become a brain surgeon, a cardiologist, a judge, then they can certainly lead a country.
Yes.
Okay, but the problem is this, again, when you're a child, the boys play football and the girls are the cheerleaders. The girls go shopping and the boys play football. So the key is you're going to have to find a way to give more female praise to boys and more masculine praise to girls.
Well, Dr. Pone, I certainly thank you for being here. You have certainly shared an enlightening story. A little boy born with cerebral palsy who had a desire to become a medical doctor and became a medical doctor through the help of his mother. I applaud women all over the world. And next time we'll hear more about other women who have succeeded. And I am so pleased to have been raised in a world where my grandmother was an integral part of our family. So women have rocked the cradle, and not that we want them to rule the world, but Women TV, I applaud you.